Hi everyone, welcome to Webinars with RankSense. I'm Brittany and I'll just be going through the chat and answering some of your questions. Today we're joined by Charly Wargnier and he is going to demonstrate how to build a simple HTTP code checker in Streamlit. So without further ado, let's get started.
Hey, Charlie, how are you? How's it going?
Very well. Hello, guys. Hi, Brittany. Hi, Hamlet. I'm very well. How are you?
Yeah, all good, all good. So really excited to have you here. We met at Brighton SEO last year, right? You
Indeed.
you were had a nice touch bringing me some mermaid. Mermaid. Is that how you pronounce it?
You know what? The French would say marmite because that's a French
Marmite.
word, actually, I believe. Or maybe English people will get offended if I say it's a French word, but it is. But the pronunciation, I think, is marmite.
Marmite. Okay.
There you go. Did you enjoy that, I think, right?
Yeah. No, one of them was a little bit tough. I think it's an acquired taste, but the peanut, it was. I got addicted to that one. That was really good.
Good. I'll bring you more next time. As soon as this lockdown is over, and you come back, I'll have a stock for you.
Yeah, that was my first time in London, right? So I had to get a visa to get there, and fortunately now I have a citizenship, U.S. citizenship, so I won't need it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's awesome.
Excellent.
So yeah, so thank you for making the time. I mean, you've been an inspiration for a lot of people in the community. Really excited to see you putting all these cool apps and Streamlit apps, and it's been wonderful what you've been putting together.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me today, and I return the praise. Thanks very much for everything you're doing for the community. You've been absolutely amazing from the start. If we talk about my Python journey, you're certainly a big part of that. So I have to say thank you for everything that you're putting in place and all the inspiration.
Wow, that's awesome to hear that. So the structure of the webinar is we're gonna spend about half of the time talking about your journey. Can you share your screen with a slide so that we can do a bit of an intro with?
Should I set up? Yeah, I can do that. That's all good. Bear with me.
So you have some slides here.
Yeah. Okay. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to present.
100%, yeah.
Good.
So yeah, so we're gonna learn a little bit of your story, right? And your journey, right? First, talk about your career as an SEO, right? And then get the background of your what got you excited about Streamlit and about the workflow, the app that you put together for us to the walkthrough. Does that sound like a plan?
That sounds good. Perfect.
Yeah. So let's talk about where do you come from to our wonderful community of SEO. Tell us a bit about our journey. And you've been primarily in agencies and an in-house or a combination?
Yeah, a combo, combination of in-house agencies. I mean, the SEO journey began in 2008. So I feel really old. But it's quite funny because
you say that because I'm 2002, right? I shaved my hair so people can see the white hair. Right?
Yes, it's been certainly a wide and really exciting journey with SEO. But before SEO, very quickly, I know we've got a lot to go through with the app and the deployment. So let's not talk too much about that. I don't like to talk about myself too much, but yeah, just for context, I didn't start in digital marketing back in the days. Internet was starting, and I actually didn't choose the internet at all. I was doing Photoshop, like some kind of online image editing and things like that. I was in France. I'm French, and I moved from France to travel the world from 2006. I wanted to speak English, basically. My English was fairly academic and not that great. And I thought that moving away from France and try to have some visas, working holidays visas to go to Australia and other countries was the right thing to do. So I moved to Australia, I moved for a year, I moved to Canada for a year after that. I went to French West Indies, not far from Dominican Republic, actually.
Oh.
I used to live in Martinique.
Oh yeah, it's a French colony, right?
It is a French department, or yeah, French area. It still belongs to France, and so you got Guadeloupe, you've got Martinique, and I've stayed about 6 months there doing music and doing diving. So it was quite relaxing and really, really nice. It was like 12, 13 years ago already. And then I moved around. I went to the US a little bit. It was not to work; it's just for holidays for a few months, and I went back to Europe, to Ireland, which is next to England, and then I went back to live to London, and it was 12 years ago, and so since 2008 I live in the UK, and I've got my family here. I've got a lovely wife and my 2 young kids, and so I'm here. And so in terms of SEO, I've started with a mix of agencies and also in a house. It was initially agencies with small businesses, a bit of PPC, a bit of SEO, a bit of web design. I started with Joomla, HTML, CSS, are very basic, but I've started with that. And I moved to enterprise SEO around 2015 with e-commerce retailers like John Lewis. It's a big retailer in the UK, pretty much the equivalent of Macy's in the US, potentially bigger. And so we had.
So you work in house with them?
Well, actually, I worked in an agency, and then they got rid of the agency, and they hired me to work.
Oh, okay.
3 years, yeah. So I had I've set up my limited company, and I've been contracting for about 5 years now. And so.
So they hire you, but as a contractor, right?
Sorry?
They hire you, but as a contractor.
Oh, I didn't catch this one. Sorry.
They hire you, but contracting.
Yes. Sorry, that was a contract. But the contract lasted 2 years with the agency, and then 2 years as an in-house. So it was actually a fairly long contract. And this is where it started with big data and Python. Initially, I was working with Power BI, with DAX and M, which are the language for Microsoft's Power BI, SQL, and then I worked also a lot with Splunk. They were heavily relying on Splunk.
But give me a bit of the context. What drove you to Power BI, and what kind of problems were you trying to solve that you felt like you were constrained with existing tools? Right.
Well, basically, I think I was a bit intimidated by like languages like PHP. I tried PHP 7-8 years ago, and I kind of left it. It was fairly daunting, and the challenge for me was to overcome the limitation of Excel. Obviously, we were talking multi-country, big data, and Excel was really, really limited. But because I felt a bit intimidated, I thought I would start with something easy, and Power BI for me, and Power Query, which is part of Excel, as you know, it's free, it's within Excel, allowed me to overcome the limitation of Excel. So I could deal with millions of rows. I didn't have to rely on Excel anymore, and it was easy for me. Power BI is you can certainly code, but you don't have to code. It's a what you see and what you get interface.
Yeah.
Okay. So the agenda with regards to Streamlit, and I'll talk about.
Before we dive into Streamlit, tell us a little bit about your Python.
Sure.
If you can, please.
Sure.
What got you into Python, right? And what do you learn that you think people, because a lot of people have that question, how do I get started, right? How do I learn how to avoid the mistakes or the painful path? How long did it take you? That'll be great to know, right?
Sure. Studied Python 3 years ago, so 2017. So Power BI was good, but limited. It was platform dependent. People had to have Power BI to make, to get my scripts and my pipelines.
And
And
I think it only works for Windows, right? I've done the same thing with Tableau. Tableau, I think it's a little bit more expensive. I stopped using it a few years ago after Data Studio. And when I was using Tableau, it was always only Windows. But then I was using Mac, so I used emulate. I was using Parallels to emulate Windows just that I could use the Tableau. But then they launched a Mac version of Tableau, right? And I like how you show, look, we start with Excel, but you're dealing with small data sets. Then you upgrade to Tableau or Power BI, and then you hit another limit. And then you end up with Python, right? It sounds like an interesting journey. What was that limit that you hit on?
Well, Power BI,
besides the platform limitation?
Power BI, I think it was not free anyway, so it's not open source. It's a closed platform. It doesn't work. I mean, the pipeline is always limited. You always have to work with other dependencies, and that's why I moved to Python for that very reason. Open source, and you can literally do anything you like with Python. So I did try R before moving to Python. I tried a bit of R stats, and we talked about it yesterday a little bit. I think the big problem with R stats is, even if it's great from a statistical point of view, you can't really do anything you like. So if you want to move to full machine learning, if you want to move to NLP, or if you want to put all your models and your scripts into production, then you're going to hit a limit as well. So what I really liked about Python is the fact that it was fully ubiquitous, and it was fully versatile, which drove me into it, and I've never looked back.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. And how do you learn? Do you take online courses or you talk? How are you learning, or tutorials? Because different people have different learning styles.
Yeah. So
what's the best for you?
I started 3 years ago when I started. I was online. I was getting the scripts. I studied with Paul Shapiro. We all know Paul.
Yeah.
Of course, is amazing. And the very first brick wall I was hitting with Power BI is the API connections with Search Console. As many as Search Console is a good way to start with Python, because you've got some fantastic scripts over there for the Search Console. You couldn't do that with Power BI. And I thought, okay, I need something that allows me to get the data from the UI at scale. There was a script I tried back in the days which allowed me to get all the data per letter. So you could have all the data from API for the letter A, B, C, D, and you used to have an amazing data set which was backed up on the I think it was on a weekly basis in my on the tools that we were using with the retailer I used to work for. So this is how it started. A few scripts online 3 years ago, applying that to my workflow, and I didn't really understand. It was all great, but I thought, okay, if I really want to be creative, I need to start understanding the language. And you know how it is. I think obviously there's a lot of advice we can give, even though I still think I'm a beginner in Python, but there's still a few things, as you say, a few pitfalls I faced. And I think one of the pitfalls is it's not a Python advice. It's more like, I think Python takes time like anything. And I was just fully committed to my job. And I think one of the biggest mistakes was to not take some time on a daily basis, potentially 1 hour or 2 hours a day at night or in the evening to kind of learn Python. So I've left it aside. I was just doing my day-to-day job. I was not trying to learn anything. And this really hindered me. When I stopped the contract, and I had a bit more free time, this is where I started learning Python. And I think that's really something important, is you're not your job. Just don't put all your eggs into your day-to-day job. I know it's tempting, but you really want to take time for yourself, take time aside every day and try to learn a little bit of something. And the rewards are going to be outstanding. That's a mistake I did for a few years, and I think moving forward, I always make sure I can actually take some time, obviously for my life, for my kids, and for the family. That's the most important. But from a learning standpoint, always having a bit of time to learn new things.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Right. And actually, that's when we're hiring people and we're looking for people, that's the main thing that we care about is, do you have a growth mindset? Are you always trying to learn and get better at something that matters? Because it can make a big difference in your journey, right? And I tell you, for me especially, right? I'm probably the most novice in every area that I get into, but I just stick at it and I said, look, doesn't matter that now I'm stumbling and it's embarrassing and I'm making all these mistakes. Let me look at what's Hamlet now. I mean, look at, I didn't know about all this public speaking or writing and all this stuff, and I didn't know anything, and I was just probably embarrassing myself. Now it's been 2 years, and it's hard even to keep up. So don't underestimate what you can do. You should stick at it, and also try to figure out a way to motivate and enjoy it, so you can continue to do it.
Exactly.
So,
and
yeah.
Go on. No, so I thought that's a good transition. Is you've asked me earlier about my path to learning Python, and initially it was literally because I didn't know anything. I wanted to understand language. My first steps were to go into those websites, which were the Coursera, Data Camps, Data Quest, and I did. I mean, some people are different, but as far as I'm concerned, I didn't really enjoy those websites where you had to kind of look at videos and take notes. I needed some kind of interactivity. So I had quite a bit of joy and success with and enjoyment with Data Camp and Data Quest, because those ones are dynamic. They've got a kernel which you can connect to, and you got some exercise and you get some points. And I think this is quite motivating.
The gamification, yeah.
Exactly. So this was good. This was a good middle ground. Coursera was not good for me, didn't work. DataCamp, DataQuest worked well. And then after a while, I got a bit bored because when you start learning not mastering, but like, enjoying Python and start being creative with it, then the best thing to advise is to get into the problems that you face throughout your SEO life or marketing life and try to solve them, which is obviously an advice you've been giving for years to the people on Twitter. And this is also the advice I'm giving, is try to build some stuff. And this is why Streamlit is fantastic, because it allows you to take those problems and create an app which will actually solve the problem that you have or the problem that your clients is facing. And that's why Streamlit is so addictive, I think.
I think so. So yeah, no, that's awesome. So let's talk about Streamlit, right? So I'll let you go through your slides. So
sure.
I'm gonna be learning from you about this. I play with it a little bit, but I've seen you, so I can't wait to learn what you're gonna be sharing with us today.
No pressure. Okay. Okay. So the agenda, we'll talk about Streamlit quickly. We will talk about some alternatives. We'll obviously install the app, review the code a little bit. I'm not going to go into detail, but we'll have a quick view of what makes Streamlit really useful for SEO or anyone who wants to build data apps, and then we'll deploy the app as well. So why Streamlit? Streamlit relies on 3 principles, and this is the very first principle is the one which really drove me into it, because I really wanted to learn Python. So I needed to have a framework or a tool which was working with Python. And as soon as I've seen Streamlit last year, I think JR Oaks, also amazing and also very inspirational for me, started with Streamlit last year. And this is, that's how I found about Streamlit. But the very first point is Python. So everything is in Python with Streamlit. There's no, you don't have to learn anything else. You don't have to learn HTML. You don't have to learn CSS. Everything is done with Python. I'm going to go to those slides actually. So yeah, this one is a quick video about showing that you can see the code here, myapp.py. That's a Python script, and then straight away, either online or in your local server, you will say my first app, and the charts, everything will be displayed into a browsing window, a browser via a local server. So there's no other thing in Python here. And as I say, it links to the previous slide. Any widgets or any charts will be Python as well. So if you know a bit of Python and you know a visualization library, or if you know something that works in Python, there is a few exceptions, but usually you'll be able to integrate everything within Streamlit. So everything is fully transferable to Streamlit. And so this is also very interesting, is what makes it great is you got the data you will load into your script, into your Python script. There is a function called caching function that you can trigger, you can enable via the cache operator. So I'm not sure you can see my mouse here. You can see this little, and it's not a decorator, it's a decorator, sorry.
Yeah.
So StCache. So the idea is to build any Python function. And above this Python function, as any decorator, you put this decorator on top and it will cache the data that will be loaded. So obviously, it's not something that you do every time. The heuristics for it is when you can measure. Sorry,
there is a name for that concept. It's called memoization.
Yes.
In Google, it's called memoization.
Yes, correct. This is exactly that.
And it can be in memory, it can be in disk, so that when you're reusing them, it doesn't, it runs faster.
This is exactly that. You've said it better than me. So the heuristics are if obviously the function, you can measure how long a function takes to load. But if it's more than a second and a half or 2 seconds, then the recommendation is to cache it. But this is really interesting when you have some in SEO, in marketing, it's a lot about crawling.
API, exactly. APIs that there might be a cost associated with the calls, right?
Exactly. So yeah, that's exactly that. When you use the APIs and there is API calls and a cost associated to them, you can actually cache this call. So first of all, the first perk is that it saves you a lot of time because you don't have to refetch and redo the call. But because it's cached, you don't have to do another API call either. So it's you're saving on both ends.
Yeah, great.
So especially when it comes to big data, when it comes to loading big data frames, it works with pandas, which is the reference in Python for tabular data, but it also works with any other big data. I haven't tried with everything, but I've tried with a few other big data library, like Dask, for example, and it also worked very well. So the cache function is fantastic for that because you can really load big data sets and they're kept in the cache of your browsing session. So it's a very, very big perk. And there's no callbacks either. So if you work with, I'm not sure whether you can see that. I'm going to move the screenshot. If you work with any other web framework like Django, like Flask, it's like the learning curve is actually quite steep, where you have to learn how to do callbacks and how to kind of retain the state of a specific app. With Streamlit, you don't have to do that because every time you are interacting with an element of your app, be it a slider, be it a tick box or any widget, what the script will do is it will actually reload your app. So every interaction reruns the script from top to bottom, and that's the way basically it works with Streamlit, and that makes it very easy to design. It is very, very little.
It's reactive, right?
It's very easy to use, and I think hopefully at the end of the session, more people will try that. But yeah, you don't have to worry about callbacks and the state of the app, which is and there is a few hacks available online to make it a bit more versatile than what it is today. I can certainly help people to build their apps if they've got any questions at the end of the session. But this is certainly very versatile and also easy to use. I'm not sure whether, let me just change this here. So it integrates with any machine learning frameworks. The main one, Keras, TensorFlow, PyTorch, Scikit-learn. But it's not just for machine learning. You can use it for anything. So when it comes to APIs, when it comes to any big data workflow, you can use it for that as well. So you don't have to do, it's been kind of branded like a machine learning framework initially, and it's certainly great for that. But you don't have to do machine learning. You can use it for anything. So an idea that people can do is if you got any Collab workbook or any Jupyter notebook or any script that you want to reuse, well, you can just do that. This is what I've been doing a lot. I've had a lot of old scripts which were sitting in a Collab. And because Collab is great, but it's also requiring some kind of knowledge. Many people in organizations, for example, don't use Collab. They don't want to have to log into Google. They want something when they can just go into a browser and press a button. So this is great for that. You can just take your code and create some new data apps within Streamlit. The very quick part about Streamlit Components. I think Streamlit Components was released in June. And one of the great things about Component is that you can actually integrate anything that's not Python into your app. So if you want to have React elements, Vue or JavaScript elements, you can actually with Component take those apps and then interact directly with those apps, with those libraries in your Streamlit app. So that really, you can add any visualization, you can add anything to it. You can have custom styles, and the possibilities are really endless. If you go on the website, if you go on Streamlit website, you'll have a link to go to the Streamlit component page, and you'll see apps which have already been designed by the great people at Streamlit. You've got, as you can see, I don't know if you can see this here, but you've got the Streamlit e-charts at the bottom right, which I've been using many times for some of my apps, which is fantastic. It's JavaScript, but integrated within Streamlit via components. But you can use Observable, you can use Vega Lite, and there's a few others here. Spacey, Ines from Spacey has built this little Spacey app, which we can reuse for your own app to do some entity analysis or things like that. This is really good and highly recommended for you guys to try. You can also do some pandas profiling, at the which you can see here. There's a lot of things that people have already created, and it keeps going strong. You've got D3 here, you've got Bokeh events, you've got Folium. There's a lot of things here that you can try. And if you want, if there is a JavaScript application that you'd like to see in Streamlit, you can just go there, design your app, and then share it with the world. In terms of web framework, there's some competition, Flask, Bottle, Pyramid. There is Django, of course. I think you like Django's tagline, Hamlet, right? Well, I forgot about their tagline.
The tagline is perfectionist with deadlines.
With the deadline. Okay, I like that as well. I need to learn from that, eh?
Yeah, don't we all? Yeah, let's try to move a little bit faster, Charlie, so that we have enough time to walk through that.
Of course. Yes, sure. So web framework, they're more versatile, more tweakable, but also more complicated to use. So I'm going to pass that. Dashboarding solutions, you've got Panel. Panel is certainly the closest competitor. Very good, different use cases. I'll share the slides so people can have a look at the differences between Panel and Streamlit. You also have Dash. You also have Voila. You've got different libraries, but Streamlit, to me, obviously I'm biased, but it's been the most exciting one to use. So let's install the app basically. So this is an app which I did for RankSense as part of the tutorial. If you guys want to follow the steps, the first thing to do is to go to GitHub and to go to the RankSense portal and click on tutorials. And then there is a folder where you'll have the name of my app called Streamlit HTTP Coach Checker Data Chaz.
Yeah. So, Brittany, you want to copy and paste that link on the chat for everybody? I guess so. If you guys want to try it immediately. All right. Yeah, and the main idea is that there is a lot of scripts that you can find online from Paul Shapiro, from me, from different people in the community, and maybe people in your team are not. Most of them are probably not going to be developers, so you can create a simple UI for them to use, right? And have you tried Charlie? Oh, there, and Charlie shares some codes for the Streamlit Share. You can actually make them, visible in your team. So hopefully you guys can try that.
Yeah. So if you guys want to try the app, there is a little badge. As soon as you reach the GitHub portal, you see this little badge here. So if you click on that, you can reach the app and you can try it. But basically what the app does is you paste a few URLs into this text area, and it will show you the overviews. You'll have the amounts of code, which are 200, 300, 400, and so on and so forth. And you can get the overview with the pie chart, with a pivot table, and also with the full list of URLs with the results. It's a very simple app. At least it gives an idea of what you can do with Streamlit in just a few minutes. Are you happy for me to go through the steps?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what you need, guys, the very first step is to have Python installed on your machine. What we'll do, we'll install the app on the machine on a local server, and I'll show you, hopefully, if we've got a bit more time left, how to deploy the app online via Streamlit Sharing. So what's compulsory? You need Python. Streamlit works with Python 3.6 or above. You need a command prompt to launch the script. You need a GitHub account if you want to deploy the app. You don't have to have GitHub if you're using AWS or GCP cloud platform or anything, but you need a GitHub account if you want to deploy on Streamlit Sharing. And then you need an invitation to Streamlit Sharing. I've shared the link on Twitter, guys. So first come, first serve. I'm not sure where we are at the moment. If we reach the 20, I haven't checked. But if there is more than 20, that's fine. I'm liaising with Streamlit on a daily basis, and I can ask for a bit more slots. So there's no problem at all. Feel free to put your name in the sheet, and then I'll give you the invite in no time, hopefully today. Optional, you need a virtual environment, which tends to be, it's not compulsory, but it's good because you can actually isolate all your dependencies so you don't conflict with other apps or other Python scripts. So it's always highly recommended. And then you need an ID if you want to edit the code. So an ID is, for example, VS Code, which I'm using, but you could use anything. If you want to use PyCharms or Spider, you can use that as well. So the first thing to do, guys, I'm not sure, Hamlet, I don't think I'll do everything myself. I can just show a few screenshots. For example, here, I'm just explaining the guys to go into your page and to download the files. So here, when you reach tutorials, Streamlit Code Checker, there is 4 files. You just need to go there and to download everything onto your machine. If you want me to do it, I can do it.
No, I think it's fine. We can answer those questions offline. There might be some technical difficulties in the middle.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Cool. So yeah, first step, you go to the page, you download all the files from the GitHub, and then you create a folder on your local machine. So you just create a folder. You could call it like this, http:/app. You can call it whatever you want. And then you pull those files from the repository to this folder. Now, with regards to virtual environments, we talked about it literally 2 minutes ago. It's recommended, so I'm not going to go through that. To activate the virtual environment, you can use many, but I'm using virtual environment or virtual app. Sorry, so you can install it. You can install with Conda. You can install with pip. I personally use pip. So here it will be pip install virtual env, which is the command that you need to type into your command prompt. Sorry, it's a mistake. You have to navigate to your folder first, and then once you're in your folder, so this should be actually number 1, and once you're in your folder, you can install the virtual environment. And once you're in your folder, you also can activate your virtual environment. So to activate it, you just type virtual env vanv, and then you can type this command. Again, I'll share the slide later, so if the guys wants to follow, they'll be able to follow via the slides. If you want to get out of your virtual environment, you can deactivate it to quit. And so when you launch your command prompt, if you want to check that you are in your virtual environment, you can see, I don't know if you can see that, but there is a little vanv sign, which is at the bottom left. And it means that you are actually in your virtual environment and it's activated. So that's the little cue point, the little sign that everything's working well. And once you're in your virtual environment and you've installed it and it's activated, you just need to install the different libraries onto your folder. So in the prompt here, you will install Streamlit. So pip install Streamlit. You will install a few of the libraries that we need for this application, for this code checker. You need a request. So request is a library which will actually fetch different kind of information for any given URLs, response codes, redirects, etc. So this is what we need. And we also need a visualization library. We're using PyEcharts, PyEcharts being the Python port of eCharts, which is the JS library that I mentioned earlier. It's great because it's very versatile and it's very dynamic. You can do a lot of things with PyEcharts. I really highly recommend it. And you also need to download to install this, which is pip install Streamlit eCharts. Once you've installed all that, guys, you just need to type Streamlit run app.py. You need to create, no, you don't need to create it because you already downloaded it. So you just need to run this command, Streamlit run app.py in your command prompt, and you will be prompted to browse a window with the application. So what Streamlit will do is it will open a local server in your browser and you can actually start playing with the apps. So on the code, we can quickly, how long have we got, Hamlet?
No, we have 18, 19 minutes.
A little bit of time, okay. Yeah. I'll just try the app. Sorry, I'm just going to go there. So RankSense. Okay, so that's the GitHub page. And if we want to have a look at the app, we just press here and you've got the app. So as you can see, guys, the app is shared on Streamlit at the moment. So that's share.streamlit.io, and that's the app. So if I'm going to paste another URL. Let's paste a 301. Let's paste a 44 and a 302.
Well, that's a really cool trick, right?
Yeah.
You do that, right?
Elias told me that the other day. I was looking for a 404. I couldn't find any. He said, "Can you help me on this?" And he just pointed me to this website, and it's quite.
Elias is in the group in the attendees, so that was a great trip. Thank you, Elias.
Hi, Elias. Thanks for the tip. So once you've put those URLs, you just launch the app. I think I should add a button here somewhere, but at least you've got a bit of an idea. You've got the chart. You can click, select. So everything's dynamic with each chart. Just very, very nice. Very visually pleasing. And what I did is, with this code is, with Streamlit, you can also, with the st.code method, you can display the code which has been used for specific element of your application. So here I've pasted, people can actually go there, toggle, expand the little bit.
Can you go back and see how do you enable that? I missed that.
Sure. What I should do actually is maybe go to the code, if you bear with me.
Mm-hmm.
You can see all my apps there. Try this one here. So that's the code for this application. There's about 600 lines, a bit less than 600 lines, but because I duplicate, what you need to do is, if you want to display,
we're not seeing anything. We're still seeing the Streamlit browser.
Oh, okay. So I need to change what I want the screen. Okay, how do you do that? Let me just stop the share and start the share again. Bear with me. Can you see that?
Yeah, now we see it.
Okay, so this is basically the code for the apps. There is about 600 lines. I could certainly optimize that better. Yeah, still need to improve on my Python skills and how to optimize the app and make it shorter and make it quicker, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sure Elias can give it some optimization tricks too, right?
But if you wanted to see how to do this trick, it is via the, let's have a look here. I don't know if you can see this. This is the st.code. And so if you type that and you type the element you want to summarize, so what I did here is I created a variable. In this variable, you put the code, the Python code that you want to wrap and display. You just put it in with 3 apostrophes. Yeah, just like this. And then you wrap this variable within st.code. And then you can put the language as well. So it works with different kind of languages, I believe, but I put Python here. So once you do that, then this piece of text will be displayed into the application.
Oh, interesting.
Which is quite handy. Another thing I wanted to show you guys quickly is the cache function. So we talked about the cache functionality earlier. So here, this Python function will use the functionalities of requests, as you can see here. I know you're very familiar with requests. So you got the status code here, you got the history, you got status code again. And so this is the Python function, which iterates over a data frame. So what I do is when you paste those URLs into the text box, I'm converting that to a data frame. And then I'm iterating over this data frame with this function. And what we have here is this decorator, stcache, which enable me to cache the data so that if I interact with the app moving forwards, it will never load again. It will just be memorized in the app. And this is the same for this. So we're fetching the URL statuses here, and you've got the decorators at the top. So in my categorization here, this is categorization where we can put anything that's 200 as part of the 200 family, 300, and so on and so forth. And again, here you've got the cache decorator, which allows you to speed up the app and makes it really, really smooth and quick.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you want to get back to the app?
We can do. We can do this.
So that people you don't scare the people that get all this code looks Chinese spaghetti, right? Yeah.
It looks a bit daunting indeed, yeah. Again, they're happy to be pestered on Twitter and help anyone if needs be. So yeah, you've got, you can actually, since October, you can now have columns, you can have toggle boxes, you can have one chart here on the left and another table on the right. So you can really make it very nice and organized, which you couldn't do before. So that's a nice improvement from Streamlit. You can make it like a little dashboard now, which is very, very nice. And so once you're happy with all, as you can see, you can also format your table. So here at the bottom, you have the full list view with the URL, the code class redirects, the amount of redirects in the chain, the last URL in the chain, and last code. You can zoom on the table here, and if you want to download the data, you can just click here, and it will actually export the data into a CSV file. There you go. So that's it really in terms of what this app does. What we can do if you want, Hamlet, I can show you how to deploy it on Streamlit Sharing. Should we do that?
So if you guys have any questions, make sure that you post them.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
So that you have any questions for Charlie on this. And also where to get started to learn about a Streamlit specifically. Probably it's a good idea, right? What tutorials you recommend, right?
Sounds good. So once you've got your invitation, and again, feel free to drop your names and email address on the spreadsheet. Once you've got that, and you need a GitHub account as well, because it works with GitHub. It doesn't work with GitLab or anything. It has to be GitHub. Once you've got all that, guys, you just need to head to Streamlit and then Streamlit Sharing. So I'm just going to browse there quickly. So if I Google Streamlit Sharing, then I'll have this screen. So you can also request an invite from the website. It will take a bit longer. So I'd recommend to put your name in the sheet to make it way faster. And then once you've got your invite, you sign in. So you will go to share.streamlit.io. So those are all my apps. Because I work with Streamlit now, I've got I guess some people will be jealous. I've got quite a few apps here. It's only 3 apps with the account at the moment. But yeah, so let's say you want to create your app, you want to deploy your app. What you need to do is you need to go to deploy. So you create a new app, you press on create, this little button that was there, and then you will have this screen here. So I'll do it again, just so that everyone see what I'm doing. So you got your dashboard, and then you go there, new app. Okay, so deploy. You've got your screen here, and it's you know what, it's so easy. I'll go back to the slide quickly. Can you see the slides?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So before we do that, I just wanted to show what you can have. You can use any deployment platform. You can use Google Cloud with Cloud Run or App Engine. You can use Amazon AWS, EC2. You can use Python anywhere. You can use Heroku. I personally use Heroku if I want a bit more functionalities for deployment. But Streamlit Sharing is free, and it's also great. And what makes it great is it's very easy to use, very easy to deploy. When you use any of those services, there's a bit of a learning curve to deploy well. There's quite a few files to put in place. It could be quite daunting. With Streamlit Sharing, the only thing you need to do is you need to create your GitHub repo with your files. You need to upload your files there. And then once your files and your GitHub is there, this is the screen that you have. And what you have here is, if you click in the repository field, you have, look, you get all the repository of yours. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the repository where I put all my files. And it's this one here, the first one. And then this will be main all the time, so you don't have to change that. And what you need to do here, guys, is you see the main file path. You need to replace that by the name of your app. So here, what we did is I've called this app app.py. So I need to remove Streamlit. And once this is done, that's it. That's all you need to do. The only thing that you need to do as well, which is fantastic, right? The only thing you need to do as well is to have all your apps in your requirements.txt. So if I go back to GitHub, I'm just going to show the guys quickly the file. So if I go back to the folder, you've got the logo is if you want to have any images displayed in your app, so you need to put the logo in your root folder. The app.py is the Python file. The Readme is just a normal Readme for GitHub, which gives you bits of context and information about the app. And then you've got the requirements.txt. So the requirements.txt is just a list of the libraries which are installed in your app. So you have Streamlit, obviously, and you have all the one of which we've installed on our local machine earlier. So we've got eCharts, PyCharts, Request, Pandas. And you just need to put that into this requirements.txt file, upload it onto your GitHub. And once you've done that, it's as simple as that. You're good to go. You put your name, py, app.py, you deploy, and there you go. You can see that there is the console, which is displayed on the right-hand side, and you can see the app being deployed with this URL. And you can share this URL with the world. You're actually good to go. How good is that?
Wow. That's awesome.
This is nice, isn't it? Yeah. So
Yeah.
the app I've shared is this one. It's exactly the same. The functionalities are quite like straightforward. You can, if there is an issue with your app, you can download the log. You can reboot the app. You can check the documentation. So it's quite basic. But in a very few, I think in a few weeks, in a few months, at the start of 2021, Streamlit will release an enterprise version, which will not be free, but you'll be able to have multi-users, use passwords, protect your credentials, or you have API tokens, and you'll also have custom URLs and private repository. So there's a lot of things coming as part of Streamlit Sharing in the future. Exciting times.
No, this is awesome. Yeah, you know, very, very impressive, amazing work you did, and I'm really, pleased that you put all this effort together for us to share all this. And yeah, hopefully the rest of the community are as excited as we are to see this, right? And how long do you think, once you know Python, how long it will take for somebody to learn Streamlit to be able to build an app like you share here now?
Well, that's the thing, that because there's no other things to learn. That's the beauty of it, is you can just, if you know Python, you will be able to do your apps in no time. So there's very small learning curve to have your app. I think if you start in the morning, by lunchtime, you got a few apps to share with the world.
Wow.
Few hours.
That's amazing. But all these, nuances is most about using decorators and stuff. That's all you have to do.
Well, unless you want to go with, yeah. I guess unless you want to go with JavaScript integration and components, it can be a bit more complicated. But if you want to stick to the basics, the widgets are methods. So you're going to have st. and the name of the widgets, for example.
Wow.
You want to cache any functions, that's going to be a decorator. If you want to display something, you can just do st.write and then the name of your library or your visualization. So it's all very, very straightforward. If you told me, I want to learn Flask, I want to learn Django, I'd say, okay, well, you need a few years off now. But if it's about Streamlit, you'll be very quick.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's awesome.
Give it a try.
I'm sorry?
Give it a try. I'm sure you'll do wonders.
Yeah. No, I use it as one example. If you look at an article that I wrote about generating structured data from screenshots.
Yeah.
I used one of the examples that was already made, but I didn't get into the details of learning the nuances of Streamlit. I just say, oh, this is a great example. Let me try it just to show to show the object detection.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Okay. Nice.
There is one of the pretty fine examples. But yeah, no, that's awesome. That I use nGroup to be able to expose it. But yeah, no, I'll definitely will play around with it. I might even include it in my next column, right? That people
Nice. Hit me out with questions. Go on, anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. So Charlie,
Cool.
thank you very much. We appreciate your time, sharing your community, and keep doing the great job you're doing with the community. And we are building a stronger community overall.
Thanks very much. Thanks for the opportunity. It was a pleasure, and it's good to see and talk to you. I mean, I miss the physical.
Yeah, wow, exactly.
Trouble, but, hopefully next year. Hopefully, fingers crossed. More Marmite for you.
Exactly. So good one. Have a great weekend. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for
Thank you, Brittany. Thank you, guys. Very nice. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye, Brittany.